everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Today, y'all, we're doing a really special episode on our LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency raffle that we're doing. I'm coming to you today from Envision Podcast Studios, located in the heart of Denham Springs, and I'm borrowing their stuff, right? But I have two very special guests with me. One is Jim Chapman. You hear me talk about him all the time, brother from another mother, who has Local Leaders, a podcast, and now Envision Podcast Studio. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mr. Woody Overton.
All right, and Miss Tiffany Seacard, who is the executive producer and probably
the yin to my yang,
the muscle that makes everything
That's
run
right.
for Envision Podcast Studios, but also Homekey Mortgage is her jam. We're going to talk about that in a minute, y'all. So good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning.
All right. So, y'all, I want you to listen to today's episode because it's important. It's important to me. The LOPA is saving lives every day, and it's a nonprofit organization. And last year, I was in this very room doing a podcast with Jim on Local Leaders, and I was talking about the KREWE BASH, so the second annual KREWE BASH, and Captain Calvin Duvall with Duvall's Cajun Charters had donated a fishing trip out of Delacroix and to be raffled off to raise money for LOPA. And right in the middle of the episode, Jim's like, hey, those people are going to need an ice chest if they catch some fish. I said, well, I guarantee you they're going to catch some fish with Captain Duvall, right? And he's the best ever. Yes. But then Jim, unsolicited, says, you know what then? Local Leaders, a podcast, wants to donate a Yeti ice chest for them to take their fish home. And I was like blown away, right? Well, when we got done with the podcast, Tiffany comes up and says, well, you know what? Homekey Mortgage wants to match that. And y'all know what kind of success we had. Last year, we raised over $8,000 for LOPA, and it was just freaking amazing. And there's no telling how many lives that got saved or where that money, got run through LOPA, but they are the best people in the world. I've been to the headquarters. I don't think I ever told you this. I've been to the headquarters. I was actually on their podcast. They have a full studio.
Oh, yeah.
And everything else, and but they are real heroes and saving lives every day. But today I want to talk about the LOPA Raffle that we're doing for the third annual KREWE BASH. Now, y'all, we upped the game this year, and it's just crazy. Over $20,000 worth of prizes have been donated by companies and individuals, but two of them are sitting right here with me today. And but I want to take my time and let y'all get to know who these people are, and I want them to tell you about why they care about LOPA, and they're taking the time and spending the money to do this. So first, let's start with Jim. Jim Chapman took a leap of faith in the podcast world. He started it and started Local Leaders, the podcast, but he was full-time employee of 20 years?
24 years. Farrell Calhoun Paint Company.
That's right.
Which was a family-owned paint company based out of Memphis.
Right. Okay. And so you worked for them forever, right?
Yes.
But you've always been locally driven, supporting local businesses, et cetera.
Very passionate to a fault.
And yeah, that's right. So tell me how Local Leaders, the podcast, got started. First of all, before you do that, y'all, if you haven't listened to Local Leaders, go listen. He is one of the best interviewers. I'm glad you weren't a cop and I was a bad guy, because you probably would have got the juice out of me, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
But I've been on the show at least 3 separate times, but your show has exploded and across all channels, and including YouTube, and like I told you, Tiffany Miss Tiffany is executive producer, right? Did you?
In a big part of it.
Tell me how I got started.
Well, inspiration's an important thing. And I do want to preface this with, I've been a lifer since the beginning. Always been a fan of real life, real crime, a lifer just like the millions of other lifers you have. And the appeal to me with your show was, number one, it was seen through your eyes, right? So that made it different. But also, you were local. Right. You lived in LP, Livingston Parish, just like me. It's Livingston Parish, Louisiana. And you were telling stories I was familiar with. I remember a lot of those cases. And so that interest was there. You had a great voice. Your voice was just phenomenal. And everybody out there listening right now knows what I'm talking about with Woody's voice. Just perfect for podcasting. So I have been a fan of podcasting for 10 years. Joe Rogan, a big fan of his show. Don't agree with everything he says, but I'm a huge fan of his show. And I think in our business, he is the best at the interview. And so I would watch your episodes, and I had an interest in starting my own podcast. And I'm not a cop, and I don't have that experience. But one thing I had experience with was local family-owned businesses. Right. I worked for one. I knew a lot of people that owned businesses, and I knew one thing was lacking, and that was exposure. To compete with those big corporations. So that's kind of the birthplace of Local Leaders, the podcast. What we basically do is we give business owners a platform to tell their entire story of business ownership, because every business owner has a story, right? That's true. You have a story. Absolutely. You're a business owner. Absolutely. And you have a story. And so we want to give them an outlet to tell it. So that's kind of where the birthplace started. But you were the inspiration, because I always looked at my podcast as a side hustle until I saw you do it. Yeah. And when I saw you do it, I said, man, I can make a full-time run at this thing. Right. And my passion switched. And so I will always owe you for that. Oh, I appreciate it. And 100% appreciate it. But I can't do it alone. The sparkly young lady right here sitting beside me has really done so much more than she ever gives herself credit for. So just from keeping me sane, brother.
I get it. Just like Cindy does for me, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, but that's, to answer your question, that's kind of how it got kicked off.
The only difference between you and I is Real Life Real Crime's third birthday is actually the day of the KREWE Bash. My birthday is when we started, right?
Yes.
So, but 3 years ago, in a week, I had never heard of a podcast.
I remember you saying that. Right? Yeah.
So, but you had smashing success. I mean, the businesses that you interview, you always do the research. So, and even on me, when you got me on a couple of questions, right? But your interviews are in depth and thorough, and you actually get done. And people get to know these people, which is the whole point, right? Put the human face on these local businesses, and
they fall in love with it.
I know, and what a success has been, and who would have thought?
Blessed beyond my wildest dreams.
It's crazy. So, and I'm so proud of you and for you.
Thank you.
And then it morphed into Envision Podcast Studios.
Yeah. So what basically how that occurred was Local Leaders, the podcast, I was seeing some success, and I want to preface that with, it's always about that person across from me. Look, people hear me talk every single week, and so they're not tuning in to see what Jim has to say, but the guest I have on that show, you broke it off for me when you came on my show. You didn't know me. And I tell people this story all the time. I sent out a War and Peace begging letter to you on Facebook saying, please come on my show. And thought you wouldn't even respond back. You know, I'm thinking he's not going to respond back. Well, you did. And you said you had me at hello.
That's right.
And I still laugh about that. Yeah. But that for me took me from 1,000 downloads a week to 5,000 downloads a week. Awesome. The only thing that changed was Woody Everton came on my show. It was selfless. And again, I will be forever in your debt for that. But it's those people across from me that people tune in to hear, and those stories are so good, man. It's just a positive experience.
They're only as good as the interviewer, though, and that's the truth too.
I appreciate
you bring it out from different aspects. All right, everything from the business side to the personal side to whatever.
Yes.
Right, so it's always new, fresh, and different, and that's why I watch.
Yes,
and I shouldn't say this, but I don't watch anybody else's podcast. I don't listen to anybody else's podcast. I just
well, thank you.
I mean, anyway. So
I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
It's my honor to feature them every week.
So Miss Tiffany, tell me about Homekey Mortgage.
Well, basically, I just took a kind of a leap of faith too. I've been doing mortgages for 24 years and finally decided that I wanted to go out there and help people and mainly just in my community, like be able to give back to those that have given to me and just kind of bring that small town feel to it.
Okay.
Instead of.
From what I understand and what I get, why you've had such success and what's different about you is you actually give that personal attention,
yes.
right? You're not calling a mayor of fire or whoever.
Yeah.
When Tiffany, just like you do for Envision Podcast Studio and producer local leaders podcast, et cetera. When Tiffany takes it on, she takes it on. And
absolutely.
And I've noticed, I had never told you that, but I noticed this about you, and that's a quality you can't find in very many people. And Jim, 100%. I think you would agree with that.
100%.
Either you have it or you don't,
yeah.
right? And so Homekey's been going for how long?
We just made 2 years this month, and basically we're just doing what I love. And I made sure that, I hired that same quality in those people on my team, and just making sure that when people come to us that they actually feel like they are just our only client and that they're being taken care of and they're being served no matter what, and they're not just another loan number or another loan under our belt. It actually means something to us, and we want to see it through. Even after the transaction, we want to see it through and make sure that they're taken care of to the fullest.
And that's priceless. You just can't get that. It's like you call customer service, you can't even get a human being on the phone anymore, right?
That's right.
That's
but
true.
To have somebody to bring it back to, like you do in your interviews, bring it back to the small town touch and feel, that's priceless.
Priceless.
And the work ethic aside, but you putting on personal touch on your clients or probably your friends, your clients, I think that's why you've had such success. And I'm so glad to see another local person rocking it, right?
Yes, and let me just say this about Tiffany, because she'll never say it about herself. Tiffany is a 2020 Livingston Parish Businesswoman of the Year. There was only 5 of them chosen in the entire parish by the Chamber of Commerce here, and she was one of those 5. That is a huge honor. If you saw the list of women on that list,
congratulations.
It really is. In addition to that, Tiffany was the 2020 Business of the Year at Homekey Mortgage for Livingston Parish, as voted by the Livingston Parish Chamber, awarded by the Livingston Parish Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. And there you go. And hard work pays off, even though it's not really like work if you're doing something that you love, right?
Absolutely.
And that
Absolutely.
shows. That shows
It does.
Both of y'all.
It reflects in her, and even aside from that, Woody, her story is absolutely unbelievable, and Tiffany had a struggle when she was younger, and fought through it. Did not have the easiest upbringing, and she runs the top mortgage company in the parish and owns it.
Yeah, the Slav.
And then gives to this podcast.
Yeah, there you go. And again, that's something that's ingrained inside of you that can't be taught. I can't come with a degree from a classroom. Either you have it or you don't, right?
Absolutely.
So, and you have it. And then I'm proud to be sitting here with you.
I'm proud of you.
It's an honor for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will, just one more thing I'll say about that. If you're interested in hearing Tiffany's story, I've done 2 podcasts with her on my channel. So please check those out. Just a very special woman.
And then you can of course listen to it on the podcast, but also a big thing for y'all in Envision is YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Huge. My top platform.
So, and that's something that Real Life Real Crime's going to be getting into.
Yes.
We'll be making some announcements about that in the next week or 2. But so y'all go watch it, and you get to see what I'm talking about. Jim as an interviewer, and you get to see Miss Tiffany and hear her story, and then these are legit people. What I call legit.
Yeah, so, thank you very much.
And my friends, and I appreciate that. And then, hey, you know what? Outside the business world, we get to hang out sometimes.
Dang right.
Sometimes a little too long. But hey, and both of y'all
my liver would say that.
Came and celebrated with me on the awards night this year, and I appreciate that too. So
100%.
So last year, you both donated, right? And huge success. Never would have expected we would have raised that much money. But this year, you've both been an integral part on not only donated again, and we'll get that in a second, but y'all are helping run it, helping push the raffle and everything. And I want to thank you for that. These are 2 of the busiest people you will ever see or meet in your entire life, but they're taking their time out of their days. We just got off big long call with my wife talking about LOPA, and Tiffany's doing this and Jim's doing this, and Tiffany is the organizer, boom, 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 and as Cindy's doing, right? So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know LOPA thanks you. And guess what? You'll never know. Because we're never going to hear about it, right? You don't do it to hear about it, but you'll never know whose life you're saving by what you did last year and what you're doing right now. So God has that worked out, and we don't do it for accolades or anything like that, but you're doing it and you're saving lives.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I do want to say, Woody, again, you never cease to amaze me, brother. So with LOPA in particular, I had heard of organ donation, but I was not familiar with LOPA until you started talking about LOPA. And honestly, I was not an organ donor at the time. And I say that because it goes to show you that this stuff works. Giving of yourself enough to make sure that you mention LOPA on every episode made a difference. Right. You saved possibly 8 lives because I became an organ donor because of you talking about it. That's a huge thing.
It's super cool. And I got involved. I don't think I've ever told this. Over the years, when I had a lot of victims that ended up being homicide victims. Maybe it was gunshot. They were brain dead for whatever reason. And I remember one girl, having to talk to her family outside, et cetera, but being in there, photographing her in the ICU, hooked up, basically brain dead. And they came in, and LOPA came in and did it, and her organs went and saved, I think, 5 different people, and I think her heart went to a brain surgeon out of California.
Wow.
And so
that's amazing.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, but like Captain Calvin Duvall's Cajun Charters did it because his mama was a double lung recipient from LOPA or through LOPA, and he got to have her on this earth for 5 more years.
Yes.
So those we'll never know what we're doing, but it's really not about that. It's about the idea, right?
That's right.
That's right. So
we're blessed enough to have platforms that we can get that message out, maybe to, even if it's one person.
That's right.
It makes a difference. And, but you're a shining example of giving back, and it made a difference. It made a difference for me because I became an organ donor based off of your promotion of LOPA.
That's awesome, man.
And Lori Steele.
Lori Steele, she's definitely, she is a pistol.
She's a pistol and an amazing podcaster in her own right.
That's exactly right. She's
beautiful voice.
She is definitely the public face and persona for them, right?
Yes.
LOPA. And Lori Steele will be on the stage at the Basin announcing the winners for these drawings, the raffle that we're going to talk about it. So with that being said, ladies first, you want to tell me what you're doing this year, or what Homekey Mortgage is doing?
This year.
Besides, y'all never know the hours that have gone into everything. It's not just a donation. I'm going to give you props on that. All right. So Jim and I are not smart enough, as you and Cindy, to put all this stuff together. And so we're trying some new stuff on the QR codes and all that and what have you. But thank you for that, first of all.
Well, basically, we're just we matched up again this year for the 110 quart Yeti Ice Chest from Homekey. Doing that again
That's
this
amazing.
year. Just proud to be able to give that contribution.
Yeah, and y'all, that's well over a $600 value.
Yeah.
It's like $700, and that's a lot, right? And it's priceless, and I wish I could buy tickets for it because I can never have too many Yetis.
You could never.
I mean, these things are
ever
fine.
have too many.
The hard case Yetis, and I know the winner. Well, Cindy delivered it to the Homekey Mortgage's winner last year, so the just a real blessing, right?
Absolutely.
And what do you think about LOPA? But I know why you do it, and nobody will ever know everything that you've done behind the scene to put all of this together. But
I just think it's a phenomenal thing because any opportunity that you have to potentially save someone's life or be able to give them more time on earth is precious. I know myself personally lost my mom when I was 6 years old.
I'm sorry.
Back then, they thought that you could only get what she needed, the bone marrow transplant, from a family member.
Right.
Well, you can actually get that from someone as long as they're matched now. But,
Right.
It's been 34 years now. 38 years, I'm sorry. And so a lot of things have changed and a lot of knowledge has been founded, but just to know that you could possibly be able to help someone be able to have their loved one a little longer here on earth and just be able to give that gift to someone is just amazing. And I mean, we were actually at an event with Lori and she came up and she spoke to us about LOPA, and I mean, it was right there and then. I got my phone out and I signed up to be an organ donor because I was like, this is where my heart is. I mean, if I could give this gift to someone, I want to do it. And if I can educate others on how to be able to do it, I want to do it. Yeah. And so, last year when it was time for teaming up for this, I was like all for it, and
That's awesome.
Just the impact that Lori had on me, on the gift that she gave of being able to give that knowledge, I was able to, because a lot of people have a different, what do you want to call it, thought process on it. Like, I know I used to be told, don't be an organ donor because, if it comes down to it, you're on the side of the road, you're about to bleed out, they're going to let you bleed out because they need your organs. No, that's not true. That's not true. But it just, there is so many other levels of things that you can help with, even if it's just not organs, it's the tissue donations and things like that.
And what's so silly about me is I'm so passionate about LOPA, but I don't know all the details, right? And Lori reminds me, it's eyes, right? You can give the gift of sight, or they take tissues and they study it and stuff like that and help prevent, future disease, whatever all it is. It's so much more than just that. And let me tell you something. If I die, or if I'm whatever state I need to be in for them to come and choose to harvest my organs, I don't care, right? I mean, my family's still gonna have a body to bury, and I'm gonna be gone. If I can give the gift of life, or they're not going to study my genetics for something weird, I don't know. But if it helps somebody, I'm all for it, right? Yeah. So I want to thank you. It's awesome.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for all the behind the scenes work and you and Cindy are doing to make it happen.
Glad to be a part of it.
And Jim.
Yes.
let's talk about, well, last year you donated a Yeti, but this year your business is booming and you've proven success where nobody would thought, that you could have such success. Y'all could have such success on a local level, but man, killing it, right? I mean, everybody wants to be on the podcast, the businesses, and because you're doing such good for them, right? You can tell that story, I always say, like when I work the cold case, I want to put the human face to the victims and to the family's pain. You're putting a human face to these local businesses.
That's exactly right.
And bringing it out, and then people connect as they do in my cold cases. They connect on that person level, like, I'm going to shop with them. Right.
That's exactly right. You just summed it up perfectly. And we have seen more success quicker than I ever anticipated. Like I say, a lot of that is just as much this woman to my left as it is me. But I'll also say this, because I deviated off of this when we were first talking. The Envision podcast side of what I do was kind of born through me thinking I need to make use of this when I'm not using it, and I want to help other podcasters as well. Not everybody is blessed enough to have a studio.
That's right.
But they might have an idea, or they might have a great, podcast voice or whatever it is. They have great stories to talk about. So that's where Envision was kind of born. I am blessed beyond my wildest dreams that right now I have 6 podcasts other than local leaders that I produce out of this studio. Yeah, and I had people tell me that would never work when I started.
Naysayers, be damned, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. When we started, Cindy and I started on a dare. I started with like the cheapest microphone. I think it plugged into the computer or something. We had to research all the platforms, every single thing to do with a podcast. And then had Envision Podcast Studio been invented then, we'd have been here, right? So now I'll let all the listeners know, over the years, through the Patreon and Convicts and the financial stuff like that, I've upgraded my equipment, and guess what? Equipment I bought, I upgraded before you had Envision Podcast Studio. Now I have all the same equipment that Jim has.
That's right.
Have sitting in the studio. The microphones. The only thing I don't have is these lights yet. I even have the camera, and I'm bringing it real life, real crime style. I'm promising y'all from this point forward, you're going to have video of me recording my stuff also. But this everything that you have, but you did the research, you put in the time, y'all did it, and you got the best in the world, right?
Yes.
And so Envision Podcast Studio, if you want to make a podcast, and look, I get reached out all the time about people like, oh, can you give me advice on this and this? And I tell them, call you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the technical side. My wife doesn't have the time to tell you the technical side, but I'll help you any way I can, and go for it, right? So and how about this? When I started, I think there were 750,000 podcasts in the world. Now there's 2.5 million.
It's amazing.
So I think we hit it right in the golden age
of
podcasts. People want on-demand entertainment, and they want to listen to what they want to listen to.
100%. And Woody, I'll even add this to that stat. The number, they do ratings. Nielsen does ratings. And they don't differentiate like podcasters versus like CNN, right?
Right.
The number one by far, I think he had like an 11.2 rating in the world in media, was Joe Rogan over CNN, over Fox News, over everything. And to tell you how crazy it was, his rating was like 11.2. The closest person to him was a Fox News show. I think it was Tucker Carlson, and he was at like a 4.6.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Almost tripled him.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But, but I also thought back in the day when Netflix came out, and I was like, this really ain't gonna work, right?
Remember when they used to mail you the CDs?
Yeah, I did.
God, we're old.
I was always the worst because I never mailed them back.
I don't mean either.
But I didn't think that. I mean, they're taking on the establishment, the HBO and Cinemax, Showtimes. I'm like, it's not really gonna work. Now look at it, right? Now you have everything from Hulu to Amazon Prime to whatever. So you're doing the same thing. Envision Podcast Studio, first class. Everything is first class. I'm sitting in this studio soundproof room with all the best equipment in the world, with two of the best people in the world. And so if you're thinking about starting a podcast, or I mean, you don't have to use your studio. You advise them on what packages to sell. I mean,
we can definitely consult.
Yeah. Tell them about that because that's important.
Yeah. So, at Envision Podcast Studios, we do really everything from start to finish. Some people, they know how to edit. They know how to upload. They're already signed up for YouTube, Spotify, and all these things, but they have nowhere to record. We can fill that need, and we can price it out just based off of recording and then putting it on a jump drive for you. You do everything else. But there's some, they've got the premise, they've got everything they need, but they have no idea about equipment, nor do they want to mess with equipment. Right. They don't want to learn how to edit. They could, they want to hire that out. Well, all they got to do is sit down, tell whatever it is, talk about whatever it is they want to talk about, and we take care of the rest. We edit it. We can even produce an intro and outro for it. We can upload it. We can set up your channels for you for distribution so that you don't have to worry about how do I put this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the rest.
I can tell you,
iHeartRadio,
a lot because we did it by trial and error.
Yes.
For a year and a half.
Yes. So we offer those services as well. We offer audio only. We offer audio and video. And our website, if you're interested in getting more information, is envisionpodcaststudio.com. All our prices are right there on the website. We don't hide anything. We're not bait and switch folks here. So, yeah.
I mean, if you got that idea in your head, do it, right? And
why not?
Why not? And life's too short.
Somebody's bound to want to hear whatever it is you have to say, right?
I mean, you might just be like me and drive 8 hours and listen to yourself, right?
It might be therapy for you.
That's right. Good stuff. And on the LOPA end, Jim,
yes.
Tell me again real quick.
Yeah. So as we talked about, I eventually, after hearing Woody talk about it over and over again, became an organ donor. But I'll tell you how that happened in the end. And that was Lori Steele came on my show. And she had a hero with her. Well, she had a female with her whose brother had committed suicide, and they call those heroes at LOPA, and they are heroes. Right. And he donated his organ. Her name, representing him, was Jessica, and she came on the show and told her brother's story, and it was absolutely amazing, obviously moving. And told her story. Lori was here, and Lori is personality plus, right? Energy is at 10 all the time. And together we just put out a great show. And she turned to me, and I told her, I said, I'm all for organ donor. She says, well, are you an organ donor? I said, I will be after today. She says, you're going to sign up and we're going to video it. Right. And that was fine. We went outside and look, Lori, that's right. Remember what she said? That's right. Yeah. And I signed up right there on the spot, and it was one of the best feelings I ever had. Miss Tiffany was already an organ donor. Right. So I jumped on that bandwagon and became an organ donor. One of the best decisions I ever made. And really, if I spin that back to the beginning, it was because of you, man. Yeah. So,
the chance that they're ever going to harvest your organs, they're so slim.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so really, for me, it's a numbers game. If we can get 10 million people to sign up and they use 0.1%, whatever that number is, because I'm not a math guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important. It's saving somebody's life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was happy to give. Yeah. Obviously this year we did the Yeti ice chest again.
All right.
Just think that's a great tie onto a fishing trip.
Absolutely. or any kind of trip.
Any kind of trip. Yeah. Yeah. Heck, I'll put it in my backyard, fill it full of beer.
Yeah, or barbecues or whatever.
Yes.
So that's awesome. But you upped it again this year.
I did. So obviously one thing that I am capable of giving is the gift of a podcast, right? And I know probably the majority of people either are business owners or they know someone that's a business owner. So this gift certificate that I am giving is completely transferable. And I would love to podcast a business owner. It's completely free. It's a $750 value.
That's awesome.
But we're going to do everything from editing it, uploading it. You take advantage of our audience, which is about 30,000 people strong. Right. And it's completely free. It's for you, and as a tie on to this event, and hopefully, it'll get a business owner some more business somewhere.
That's love.
So,
That's love. So it's Local Leaders of Podcast. Full podcast, but you're also using Envision Podcast Studios. Basically to produce it.
100%.
So it goes hand in hand together. So Tiffany Sicard is still giving in on that also.
Yes.
So
yes. I mean,
if
it's
anybody
half her
had
deal.
any idea how much work went behind the scenes to a podcast, they'd probably rethink of wanting to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But
it blows people's mind because they think we just talk, and we do, but we do a lot of other stuff.
But so y'all both are my heroes for stepping up and doing it again this year. And then, of course, I think we have, and Cindy, if she was here, we have the same type personalities. We're going to do it, and then we're going to do it the best that we can, and then we're going to try to improve upon it. And that's what we've done this year. And the overall, besides what y'all have given, or including what y'all have given, it's over $20,000 worth of prizes that someone can win. And it's $15 for one ticket or 10 tickets for $100.
So $10 a ticket if you buy 10.
If you buy 10. And this year, it's made easier. All you have to do is go to the flyer or any of our social medias and scan that little QR thing. Tiffany, what's it?
QR code.
There you go, QR code. Yeah. I'm not a technical guy. Scan it and enter your information, and you automatically upload it securely to the computer, the company that we're using for it, and then your numbers will be drawn randomly. Your name is put on it. Tiffany, can you help me here? Then your name is put on it, and then when it comes to the time for the drawing, the computer draws it.
Way it's not Tiffany pull a name out of her bag.
Look at this! I won my own prize.
Tiffany's plumber's brother won this one. But it also, and instead of having to whip out $100 cash or whatever. Now, if you wanted to do that, if you don't want to use the code thing, get in contact with one of us. You can give me your money, and I'll do the code thing for you and put your name in or whatever, so if you're afraid of the internet. Some people are, I don't know. But it's all about y'all raising this money for LOPA. $15 for a ticket, 10 tickets for $100, and
$20,000 in prizes.
Let's talk about some of these prizes.
Yeah,
I'll put on my old man eyeglasses. So one of them, y'all have already heard, I did a drop when had the pleasure of interviewing Shane McLaurin with McLaurin Whitetail Adventures, and he's donating a 4-day guided Wisconsin turkey hunt, which is valued at $6,000, y'all. And I'm telling you, he's undervaluing it because I'm coming in for that. Whoever wins it, and you pick your date, I'm coming to Wisconsin, and that's the time of year when I'll be fortunate enough to bring crawfish. So I'm going to do a crawfish boil for the winners. And then after the crawfish boil, you're going to be there 4 days. We're going to do a crawfish bisque. We're going to cook some good Louisiana food for them regardless, right, and get to hang out with whoever the winners are. Then McLaurin Whitetail Adventures is also donating a whitetail deer hunt, which is valued at $10,000.
That's amazing.
And that's another 4-day guided hunting trip. And this place it's first class, y'all. I mean, when they say got it, but they'll pick you up from the airport, or we'll pick you up from the airport. You come in, everything's taken care of, first class accommodations, all your meals. I mean, you don't have to do, all you have to provide is your hunting license. You have to go online and get your hunting license, and you got to provide your travel to Wisconsin, right? But that's, I mean, it's just amazing. Look, and I'll be there for that one also, the whitetail hunt, and I'm gonna cook something Louisiana Southern style, right? Then we go to, so thank you, Shane and Tracy McBride with McLaurin Whitetail Adventures. Then we go to Captain Calvin Duvall, he was the guy that started this, right? He was actually going to advertise with Real Life Real Crime. So I said, you know what? I need to try out the product. So I went down with my two boys, and we went, and we had probably one of the worst days, wind wise and everything that you can have. But man, we slayed the fish.
Come on,
my youngest son, before we're getting off the boat, he's like, Daddy, when can we come back again? When can we come back again? But that's when Captain Duvall is a retired law enforcement officer. He did almost 30 years between Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office and Homeland Security. So, but he's been fishing out of Delacroix his entire life. He's from that down there. You know it if you talk to him with the accent, right?
Yeah.
And so he got into guiding many years ago, and now it's his full-time gig that he's retired. And we went on that trip, and we're talking about it, and we was talking about LOPA, and that's when he told me about his mama. And he said, well, I want to donate a trip. I said, well, you'll donate a trip, I'll donate the room. And that's how we came on. I think it was the next week.
Yeah.
Came on, and you said you were going to donate a Yeti, and then Homekey and Tiffany backed it up with another Yeti. So that, y'all, he's donated another 4-person fishing trip. Then the 110 quart Yeti ice chest, valued at $600. Y'all know it's over $600 with taxes and all that, but valued at over $600 by Local Leaders Podcast. Plus, like we discussed, the gift certificate for a free full podcast with all promotion for anyone that wins and wishes to promote their business on Local Leaders, which is valued at over $750. Donated by Local Leaders the Podcast. And again, it's Miss Tiffany Seacard. 110 quart Yeti ice chest, value, y'all selling it too low. I mean, it's valued actually over $600, but we have it listed at $600. But Homekey Mortgage, homegrown business lady of the year, and the
business of the year.
Business of the year. I mean, that ought to tell you something.
Second highest downloads ever on my podcast.
And that'll tell you something. Tiffany is really a special person, and she's stepping up, donating. Besides what all the time she's doing behind the scenes to make this raffle happen, she's donated another 110 quart Yeti ice chest. So thank you, Tiffany. You're awesome. Now, let's to the next lady. I want to talk about her for a second. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts that you've done, and it's Adele Lane Spa. Okay,
Fire.
Adele Lane Spa
in a bottle
is owned by Peyton Courtney,
yes.
And she's donating a $500 gift certificate to her spa. Now, my wife, since your episode, my wife, my daughter now go to her. Okay, to
awesome.
Adele Spa, and they said she is just as powerful in person as she was on the podcast.
Unbelievable.
I watched it, and we were going somewhere, and I think Cindy was taking a nap in the car. I woke her up and said, "You gotta watch this lady. I mean, she is a pistol, right? And all about empowering women and everything else. And hey, I don't think I would want to be on her bad side, but I definitely want to be on her good side because she is something good.
Yes,
I mean, just a super spirit on her. So I want to thank you, Peyton Courtney, for donating Adele Lane Spa. Y'all,
thank you, Peyton.
Tell us about their spa service. If Cindy was here,
she knows a lot about it.
I know you're a customer.
So they do lashes, of course. I just went on a trip recently, and they did my tan, as Peyton will tell you, it's all about, a lot of people say that women don't need this or that or whatever, but sometimes it's just the little extra oomph that you need. It's kind of like how Peyton says, it's our armor. It's what gives us our glow, and just that extra little bit that we may be needing to feel extra special, just to stand out in the event that's going on or whatever. But they do so many things there. They have clothes you can shop. She's got all the newest little swaggy ways of whatever's going on in as far as what's cute to wear. They have all the accessories. They have the shoes. They have, like I said, the spray tans, the lashes. They got eyebrow waxing. They do microdermabrasion, Botox. I mean, pretty much A to Z, anything spa you need, as well as she just opened a salon in there where you can actually get your hair done. They do birthday parties for little girls. My little girl had her birthday party there, and I mean, it's just all her and her friends could talk about. They just had their own little personal little spa day with her and her friends. So they do that there as well.
Training them young.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we want to build our daughters up.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We want to set that bar for our daughters to let them know that they're special and that they deserve to be treated special. So that they do that there. They do weddings. So like if you need hair and makeup done, I mean, just check out their website.
What I have to say about her, and 98.5% of what I do for a living is read people, especially after hundreds of thousands of hours of interview interrogation, is she is legit. She is just like us three sitting in this room.
Absolutely.
You either have it or you don't. And that girl's got that lady. I'm sorry. That lady has it, and she has it going on.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Woody, when I interviewed her, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah, see it. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely.
For 3 days, I watched that episode like just watch the numbers and the analytics because I knew this is going to be hot. Right. It had like 26,000 downloads in 3 days.
Yeah, we were sharing it everywhere.
Oh man, and I the whole time I'm thinking this girl needs her own show.
Yeah.
This is a girl I was thinking if she was in LA or somewhere like that, she would have her own. She would be like Oprah Winfrey or something.
Well,
she
is in LA, just
yeah.
LA lives in Paris, South LA.
Yes. Just an amazing personality, as you said, a giving person, but she believes that every woman's a queen. And she wants to lift people. She wants to lift women up because she was at a place at one time where she wasn't being lifted. So again, we surround ourselves with people that believe in lifting each other up, and she is certainly a fine example of that, especially with her generous gift here.
And congratulations to her on her success in the business too. Right, as being a business owner, we all know that. So thank you so much, Peyton. You're awesome. We were going to try to get you on today, but we understand that you may be blessed with something in the future and you couldn't be here, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to go next to Dr. Chris Coster. Okay. Now, Dr. Coster is a lifer. He's an OG like y'all, but he's from Kansas. And he and I started talking about turkey hunting and stuff like on Facebook Messenger and all that. Then we get into what I call I probably shouldn't say this, but food porn. So I'll cook something, I'll send him pictures, and he'll cook something, he'll send me pictures. And then after last year, this is going to be he and his wife will be here for the KREWE Bash. Actually, they'll be here for the VIP event on the 4th and the KREWE Bash on the 5th. But he was like, man, he said, I want to donate something. And he said it may be outside the norm, but in Kansas, the big thing is basketball, right? Their basketball team is like always sold out, et cetera. But he said for LOPA, he donated 2 tickets plus his parking pass for the Kansas-Texas game at the Allen Fieldhouse. Now, the game is already sold out, y'all. It'd be like LSU playing Bama.
Yeah, it's a huge game.
The deal of the year. He's given up his seats for LOPA and his parking pass to the biggest game of the year. So and
phenomenal.
Dr. Chris, we appreciate you. We can't wait to see you and your wife this weekend. I actually we kept missing. He came to Louisiana once, and I missed him. And then he came back to bring his daughters to look at Tulane, and we're like, couldn't get it scheduled. But I got up on a Sunday morning. They were leaving early. I drove like 45 minutes, and we just met off the side of the interstate, and like off of in between Kentwood and Tangipahoa, like Arcola or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
There's no gas station or anything.
Right.
We met, and he gave me some Kansas swag, and I gave him a little real life crime swag, and got big hugs and pictures because we've been talking for 2 years. And so Dr. Chris, thank you so much, y'all. But y'all, if you're from Kansas or Texas, you know this game is
huge.
The game to be at, and it's on March the 5th of 2022. Tickets and parking pass valued at $250. So thank you, Dr. Chris and your bride, and we appreciate you. You're awesome. So we got another one, y'all. Southern Magnolia Boutique donated a $200 gift basket of Sweet Grace products by Bridgewater Candle Company. And Miss Leanne Watts is the one who runs it and owns it, right? So
that's awesome.
Leanne, thank you so much for that. But they also, she went a step further, and they donated a $200 gift certificate to come shop in their boutique. So
fantastic.
It's two different things.
Yeah,
it's two different things.
Yeah,
so that's $400 worth of stuff. And I mean, maybe we need to get her on Local Leaders Podcast. To promote her business.
I'd love to.
She's first class, first top of the line lady, and y'all, her products and everything in the boutique is just fantastic. So thank you, Southern Magnolia Boutique, for Miss Leanne Watts for donating. It means a lot. You're saving lives. So we'll go to the next one, which is a 58 by 68 inch illumination quilt with China blue lanterns valued at $175, donated by Susan Carey. Now, y'all, Miss Susan lives out of the state. She's not from around here. She's a great lifer, but she believes in LOPA. And this quilt is amazing. Have you seen the pictures of it?
I have.
Oh my God,
it's beautiful. And look, those things
are quilts.
Yeah, I do too. And they take forever to make those things handmade.
I love a quilt. Quilt. Absolutely. And this thing's huge. And it's absolutely well done. It's beautiful, and again, it's another one I wish I could have.
Oh, yeah.
I put it on my recliner, and I might walk outside. So, Miss Susan, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next one, and these people are near and dear to my heart. There's a 55-quart Magellan ice box, and that's what they call their fancy ice chest, y'all, which is valued at $200, donated by Just for Him in Denham Springs. And they're also donating a Yeti tumbler, a 20-ounce Yeti tumbler, and a gift certificate for a haircut and shave, which is the gift certificate alone is valued at $100, donated by Just for Him. Now, my girl, Crystal Falgu, who's the manager there, and she's my style. I never knew I had to have a stylist, but she makes
I don't have that
my
problem.
hair appear to be there, and she, I mean, look. Jim, you go in. I know you don't have that problem, but
no.
you go in. This would be my equivalent to Peyton Courtney's 8L spa. Okay, I go in. I know all the girls in there. They get me in. I get the full service. I'm talking about from everything from the shampoo to the scalp massage to a cold and hot towel, straight razor shave. And I mean she just takes her time and just absolutely. I used to search all around for barbers my whole adult life, and it got harder and harder and harder to find a barber.
A real
when
barber.
You did find one. You couldn't find one to give you the straight razor.
Right.
They do it all Just for Him right here in Denham Springs. Crystal Falgu is the manager, but then she went to the owner and was like, "Hey, you know what? This is a great cause," and he was like, "Heck yeah!" And so they donated
100%.
all these prizes. And so, y'all, if you're a guy and you want to have yourself pampered, go in there. It's worth it. And all those ladies are fabulous.
Look, and I'll tell you, I may not can take advantage of it on my head, but I sure grow it right here.
Man,
No,
hey,
she can take a straight razor to
go
that
in there
neck.
and get that cold towel and then the hot
That's it.
towel. And they foam you
And
up
they
and
might
shave
do
you.
straight razor
That's
shaves.
right. Oh, yeah.
Do they do
know
that?
Absolutely, they do.
I'm going.
You can go in there. Hey, well, let's go in.
I think you got to have a straight head, though.
Well, that might be a problem.
Hey, let's go. I'll get us an appointment. But you don't have to have an appointment, y'all, to go in, but you can make one. I'll get us one right for the KREWE Bash.
Yes.
We'll go in together, and I know their prizes are on display there for the LOPA Raffle.
Yeah.
And so, Crystal, mark it down. We're coming to see you.
Yes.
She also actually comes out to the live shows and does me right before a live show, puts on my beard oil and stuff like that.
Come on.
Which I don't have any on today, but the fantastic people.
You can introduce me to something.
I love going in there. And you know what? I think that we need to get just for him on the. I know they're all over, but on Local Leaders podcast.
Yeah, but the owners are local, and that's
right,
all that
right.
So what I care about.
We'll deal on that. All right. Last but not least. Okay, I'm going to tell a story real quick. So I built my studio where I'm at now. It's above my bar, which I built by hand, and I don't build anything, right? I couldn't tell you the difference between a hammer and whatever, but after paying some people to come in and mess me over contractor-wise, I was like, you know what? I can do this myself. I saw YouTubed it, and it was a lot of days, and everything that started out straight is all off kilter now, and that's kind of the theme, right, on the whole bar, and now everything off kilter, but you don't like it, you can get the out, right? It's
that's right.
Place, so.
That's right.
But got this lifer who owns Grainworks, GRAINWREX. He's out of Alabama, and he and his wife are the best people. He made me a handmade, I have to show you the picture, it's hanging in my bar. He made me a handmade sugar turn to shit sign and stained it and did all this stuff. And I was like, holy shit, if he can do that. And this sent it to me because he loved saying whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, if he can do that, I want my emblem. Right, I want the Real Life Real Crime logo.
Yes,
but I want it on this huge space on the wall, and it's big above the bar. Right.
Yeah.
But, so he hand built, and I still have to put it on social media, and I've been still trying to finish the bar, and I just finally got the other half the sign lighted up the other night. But the Brian from Grainworks built this in 4 sections. That's how big the sign is. He also built me one. It says Real Life Real Crime Podcast by Woody Everton. It's as tall as me.
Yeah.
And then he also built one to hang on the outside of I call it my headquarters. And it says Real Life Real Crime Podcast headquarters dated February 5th, 2019, our first drop date, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely best hand-built stuff in the world. I mean, people pay high dollar for this stuff. So he made, and I'm going to say this wrong, and train Shane and Tracy with McLaurin laugh at me every time I say it. It's charcuterie board? Charcuterie board. See, y'all know I messed stuff up. He sent me the video. I think, go look him up on Grainworks on Instagram, because I saw the video the other night. It's a pistol grip, and the thing with the charcuterie board is in the shape of a pistol. It's amazing. It's a one of a kind. He's on there. He's staying. He's doing all the work and everything. He does all the work himself. But back to the headquarters thing. Anyway, he's dominating that, and thank you so much for doing that, Grainworks. But back to the sign. It's a funny story. He called and he said, "Oh yeah, I got your sign ready for your bar." And they're out of Alabama. He said, "My wife and I are going to come in. My parents are going to watch the kids for a weekend." Like, okay, I told him, first of all, that's how other brothers and sisters get made.
Yeah.
when you get to go out of town, like
that's right.
So, but he said, I'm going to come hang it for you. It won't take me 45 minutes. I need you to help me. He said, but it won't take 45 minutes. I said, evidently, you've never done anything with Woody Overton when it comes to mechanical stuff.
Right.
I can promise you it's going to take longer than 45
can relate.
minutes. Man, we were there for like 5 or 6 hours. Not by his fault, but because my bad luck on stuff like that.
Right.
But it's hanging. It's first class, hand painted. My signs and everything are hand painted, y'all. But the chance to win this board is priceless. It's a one of a kind. I guarantee nobody else in the world will ever have one. And again, thank you to all these donors. Y'all are awesome. I love you. I know Tiffany and Jim love you. My wife loves you. LOPA loves you. Thank you so much for giving what you could give and going above and beyond. It's really, really special. And one more thing, Friday night, we're having a VIP event. Captain Duvall stepped up again.
Yes.
Duvall's Cajun Charters got one of his rod sponsor, the high dollar rod. He got the rod sponsor to donate a rod. He went out and bought the same reels that he uses on his charter fishing trip, and he spooled it himself. Dude. That's going to be at that VIP event, which I still think there's a couple tickets left for on Eventbrite.com. That's going to be auctioned off for $1 a pop. Somebody at that night, you have to be there for that one. That's $1 a pop, and somebody's going to walk out of there for that night. That's like another $700.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone. We love you so much, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I second that. Thank you so much to everyone.
Well, thank y'all, and thank you, Tiffany, and Homekey, and everybody else, and thank you, Envision Podcast Studio, for letting me sit in your chair today, and I appreciate it. So again, y'all, we only have a couple days left, like 8 or 9 days left.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
fired up.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
But so I think you can go to any of our social media for the LOPA, the list of the prizes, and how to scan the QR code.
To be able to purchase the ticket, yeah.
Right. And $15 for one, $10 if you buy 10, right?
Right.
10 for 100.
Yep.
And over $20,000 in first class prizes. So
100%.
that's it. And we're going to turn the KREWE Bash out no matter what.
Yeah. It's going to be a great time.
So, and there are still some tickets left on sale for that. The February 5th, which is my birthday, and it is Real Life, Real Crime's birthday. And we're going to celebrate our achievements this year and everything else. But I'm going to do a Never Before Live adult interactive podcast, and that usually means a hangover the next day. And then afterwards, the world famous Chase Taliban is going to play.
Yes.
2-time Louisiana Country Music Hall and Fame inductee. So go to Eventbrite.com, get your tickets for that. Unfortunately, the Hilton, we've sold it out. That's a block away, but you can still call them if you want and see if they've had any cancellations, and use the code RLRC1. So, but there are other hotels downtown, y'all, if you're coming in from out of town and you want to stay. But that's it. Y'all got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right,
Thank you for having us on, Mr. Woody
Thank
Overton.
you for having me here. Right? And everybody, I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, and y'all say it with me. Until next time,
or ever,
don't let me
catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.